clear wing 742, and contact KNC Center 132.25.
And welcome back to the flight deck. We are just now crossing over the Arkansas-Oklahoma state line, and we're going to be passing just north of Tulsa, and we're nearing our destination. Let's jump in here and just see how far out we are right now. Go back into our utilities and look at our little trip planner here. Present position, we're 150 miles out. So we'll probably start our descent something like 50 miles, so we might as well go ahead and jump in here and prepare for it. So let's come back to here, and we can use on the screen VCALC. That's what we want to use to determine when to start a descent. So what I'm going to do is plug in 5,000 feet. Let's enter that, and we won't put an offset, but we're going to put in a waypoint, and we're going to use this one right here. It's the last waypoint before we get to the airport. So at 2,500 feet per minute, 5,000 foot target altitude, we're going to need to begin our descent in 6 minutes and 40 some odd seconds. So we'll keep an eye on that. Now we'll close this out, and we'll get back to our map. Look right here, there's a display, and it shows us, it'll give us a message and also tell us when to start descending to maintain that 2,500 foot per minute. So it's not the same thing as VNAV per se, but it's definitely a handy aid. It helps out. And you can see we're at a 50 nautical mile range right here. If I zoom out just a little bit, there is Wichita. So let's talk about Wichita a little bit while we're waiting for our descent, keeping an eye on that. In particular, I want to talk about the aircraft industry to begin with, because it is one of the things that really has helped Wichita become what it is today. In the late 20th century, there were aircraft pioneers such as Clyde Cessna, Matty Laird, Lloyd Stearman, Walter Beach, Al Mooney, and later on Bill Lear began aircraft manufacturing enterprises that would lead to Wichita becoming like the nation's leading city in numbers of aircraft produced. The aircraft corporation E.M. Laird Aviation Company was actually the nation's, the U.S.'s first successful commercial airline company. And I had actually never heard of them, but apparently they were successful. And Travel Air was started later on by Beach and Stearman and Cessna. And then Stearman, Cessna, and Beechcraft and Mooney were all founded in Wichita between 1920 and 1932. And around 1934, Boeing of Seattle, Washington absorbed Stearman and created Boeing Wichita, which would eventually grow to become Kansas's largest employer in the whole state. So the city of Wichita experienced a population explosion during World War II, no pun intended, and it became a major manufacturing center for the Boeing B-29 bomber. And let's see, in '62, Learjet Corporation opened with its plant adjacent to what was then referred to as Wichita Mid-Continent Airport, and is now referred to as the Dwight D. Eisenhower Airport. Today, Cessna Aircraft is the world's highest volume airplane manufacturer, and Beechcraft remain based in Wichita. And both of those companies have merged into Textron Aviation back in 2014, along with Learjet. And one of Boeing's chief subassembly suppliers, Spirit Aerosystems. Airbus also maintains a workforce in Wichita, and Bombardier, parent company of Learjet, has other divisions in Wichita as well. So it's a little hub of aircraft activity, no doubt. And let's see, in total, Wichita and its companies have manufactured, and this is an estimate of around 250,000 aircraft. So since Clyde Cessna's first Wichita aircraft that was built in 1916, I think it was named the Comet, as I recall. To this day, the city remains a major city for the U.S. aircraft a major center of the U.S. aircraft industry. So I've got our ATIS tuned in, 125.15, and hopefully we'll pick it up at some point so that we can set up altimeter and everything for our approach. But we'll listen for it. I'm expecting, I think the winds are forecast actually to be out of the south, so I'm expecting a 19 left approach, and hopefully that's what we'll get. So we're getting closer to our descent target, top of descent, and try to use the proper terminology there, top of descent. So not too much further to go. We'll see a message flash. Just keep an eye out. There are some other famous brands that originate in Wichita other than airplanes. Let me try to think what they are. Okay, one of them is Coleman Company. They manufacture, among other things, camping gear, lanterns, and they were founded back in the early 1900s. Pizza Hut was also founded, started back in Wichita back in 1958. So Wichita's got a little history of enterprise going for it there, to be sure. And just keeping an eye on our progress here. We are, let's see, 33 miles to Bartlesville. That is such a hard one to say, Bartlesville, B-O-R. And I'm expecting to begin our descent shortly. Ray has been talking to ATC, and they told us we could expect to descend shortly, so we'll be cleared down and prepare for our descent into Wichita. So we're getting the message now, as you can see, that we're approaching the vertical calculator, or the vertical profile. And so let's go back here and get up here where we can see. And we're going to go ahead and come down with the altitude. We have been cleared down to flight level 290. So we'll go ahead and dial that in, 290. Now, as we're approaching that, I'm going to go ahead and start pulling back on the power a little bit, slowing us up. So when we put the nose over at 2,500 foot a minute descent rate, we do not want to overspeed the airplane. It causes some aerodynamic damage. So we're going to use the vertical speed mode. Click that, and we'll start down. We've got our clearance, and away we go. I don't want to go too early though. I think when I slowed down, this started dropping, so really need to speed back up to get that back up to the 2,500 foot range. So let's get that nose coming on down, get that airspeed back up. And there's the ATIS, just in time.
Wind 137 at 7, visibility greater than 20 miles. Sky condition clear.
137, so they'll be using runway 19, I'm sure.
Altimeter 3035 ILS. Runway 19er right and ILS. Runway 19er left in use.
Yep.
Landing and departing runway 19er right and runway 19er left.
So I'm watching right here, 2400. We've got 2400 in there. Keeping an eye over here on our speed. Just making sure that we do not. Charlie, we've got Charlie. Ray, tell them we got Charlie when you check in. And just try to make sure we don't overspeed, so about 78%. I'll just back it down just a little bit. And now that we know which approach we're going to use, coming down through flight level 400, I'm going to go ahead and load us up an approach. Now there is no, go over here at the procedure page, there are no arrivals into Wichita, oddly enough, but I thought about that. Why aren't there any stars coming into Wichita? And I think because out here in the Midwest there really isn't the density of traffic. that we're used to over in the eastern part of the country and the western part of the country. So they just vector you in for the arrivals. But we're going to select the GPS. We're going to use the LPV approach. I'll talk a little bit about that if I have time. But 19 left, Y, GPS LPV is the approach. Now transition, I think what we're going to do is use this one right here, I believe, looking at my chart. Yep, that gets us to that point right there. So I'm just going to load the approach, and I think what I'm going to need to do, let's see what the message says, approaching vertical profile. Okay, and I'll check that here in a minute, but if I look up, we're navigating to more. I really need to take Wichita out of here and insert it after probably, let's go back, Phenom, I think. Let's go down here, Phenom, runway 19. Yeah, I think we'll just take it out. I think that'd probably be, I may be wrong about that. Let's go back to let's go back to the flight plan. Where are we? Right here. So more, I think I'm going to remove that so that we can navigate directly to, let's check the map. Yeah, I think that'll get us in there where we want to be. That looks pretty good to me. Actually, that looks real good. So, yep, we'll just let the GPS take us in. And we have now been cleared down to flight level 230. So, go ahead and dial us on down a little bit further. And let's look at our ground speed is 350 knots, still 2400, so we could go ahead and add another 100 foot a minute on that descent rate. And we're in the turn here at Bartlesville, VOR, heading down to Wichita. Yay! So I'll just talk a minute about the approach. This GPS LPV. LPV is localized performance vertical guidance, and it is with the WASP, which this GPS has. Is WASP stands for Wide Area Augmentation System, and it's a air navigation aid that's developed by the FAA to augment the global positioning system, GPS system. The goal of it is to improve the accuracy, the integrity, and the availability. Essentially, WASP's intent is to make or enable the aircraft to rely on GPS for all phases of flight, including precision approaches. So to further enhance it, actually, they even have what's called LAS, I think, Local Area Augmentation System, in critical areas. So looking here, 250 knots indicated, 60 knot headwind coming down through 320. Descent profile's holding steady, so the airplane's doing a good job flying this descent right now. We're just keeping a check on it, and we still got a ways to go down, but how far out are we? Let's take a look at that. From Moore, we're 63 miles, so we got plenty of time to chit-chat on the way down, and I may cut a little bit of this so that the video doesn't get too awful long. But I did want to say a little bit more about WASP and a little bit more about Wichita, so I'll take this opportunity. Now, this may be more information than you want to know, and I understand it's even more than I want to know, but WASP is actually uses a network of ground-based reference stations in North America and in Hawaii, and they measure small variations in the GPS satellite signals in the Western Hemisphere. So those measurements from the reference stations are then routed to master stations, which cue the received deviation correction, DC, and send the corrected messages to geostationary WASP satellites in a timely manner about every 5 seconds or better. And then those satellites broadcast the corrected message back to Earth, where WASP-enabled GPSs like the one we have here can use those corrections while computing their positions to improve accuracy. So that is how we get a ILS precision approach using a GPS with WASP capability. And the airplane has to be certified to do that. The GPS has to be certified to do that. And but we're going to demonstrate it and we'll see how it works here. So, a little thin cloud layer coming down through. We're going to go ahead and cut on our windshield heat. And let's get our seatbelt signs on. Get everybody buckled up. Seatbelt signs are on. And we're coming down through 260.
I'd say about 3x3 is just still a bit of static here.
We have now been cleared down to 180.
6075, go ahead.
180. And all is well with the world. Still holding that 2,400 foot a minute, so I'm going to keep everything just like I've got it set. And I'm going to summarize this trip at the end, give you the total mileage, total fuel, and total time. We'll do that, and then we're also going to show you the real world 757 X-ray mic. And, so we'll do that when we land, which will be shortly. I do want to talk a little bit about maybe some future plans that I have. So this is going to end the series. We're going to do some more flying, of course, and I plan to keep doing this for as long as I'm able. And did have a little bit of a lapse last year because of my business, but anyway, we're going to try to fly some more. And I want to give a plug out for a YouTuber I've been watching who I think is just amazing. I love this channel. His name is, I'll put a link down below. His name is Stevo1Canevo. And he flies Cessna 208 Caravans over in the Bahamas and also a Cicada TBM 850 in South Florida. And he is a corporate pilot and does a great job with his videography, his editing. I just can't say enough good about that channel, so if you've not checked it out, I'll be sure to do that. And it sort of inspired me to want to fly the TBM 850, even though it's another Carenado aircraft with a G1000, I believe it has. I can't remember, but at any rate, I may fly that and I may fly the 208, but I'm definitely going to get into flying some other aircraft and from other developers and to hopefully some pretty fun places. So stay tuned for all that coming up real soon. Getting ready to come down through our transition level, and we'll reset our altimeters. I think they said 3015 is what I remember. Probably should have wrote it down, but I didn't. So let's see what that does to our altitude and our rate of descent over here. Going the wrong way. There we go. 3015. Pay attention. Double check that once we get a little further down. So we'll come up here and change it as well. There we go, 3015. So just now getting down through 2,000, 18,000. That still looks good, 2,400. And just kept the 75% cruise, and ground speed's 324. 50 knot wind off the nose still. So indicating about 280 knots and slowing up a little bit. And I see why, because they just descended us down to 11 on 1,000. And let's get our descent going back. We're going to level off there to go back to the 2,500. Keep it coming down. I think we can zoom this in. Now, the charts are going to show up for us on here, the approach charts, but we'll do a briefing on it anyway. This is the GPS 19 left approach, and final approach course is 193. And we'll ease that power back just slightly here. Start to slow this plane up just a little bit. Coming through 10,000 here shortly. And the initial approach fix is Jackson, and no lower than 3,600. Final approach fix is Kanya, no lower than 3,000. And then Elam we crossed no lower than 1,900. Decision altitude is 1,520 feet. check that altimeter setting one more time. So 3038, it changed just slightly. So we'll keep that more updated. And through 15,000 now. Okay, 300. And so let's see, airport elevation is in the touchdown zone area is 1320, and the mist is climb straight ahead 3600, direct yellow, and then hold. So that's the briefing for the approach. Kind of a few bumps here. We're getting down closer to these clouds. Let's see, how far away are we from? More about 18 miles. So I think this descent's working out just fine. Now it's showing me though that we do need to go faster. But I'm okay with being a little high more actually, because we still have got to apply the procedure and we still have time to descend. But I am going to go ahead and pull the power on back and start slowing us down, getting us down to that 250. Not below 10,000. And down to 5,000 for 7X red line. So we got cleared on down to 5. Put that in the window. And use that power just a little bit more. Just keep that speed coming on down. And we're approaching that 10,000. I'll go ahead and get our landing lights on. Strobes are already on. This is alarm it now and get rid of that cast message over there. And I don't have any more pressurization issues. 270 knots. And we can stick the speed brakes out if we need to. But you see our vertical profile now is 2,500 because we've slowed up. 60 knots. Let's just punch these brakes out. There we are, down below 250. And showing a 2,300 foot a minute descent rate, so we can slow our descent up a little bit. In fact, we're going to slow it up to 2,000 feet a minute and keep the airplane from getting too fast on us here. We're coming on down. A few last minute fun facts about Wichita. There are some other famous things about it. People, I'll talk about that. Glenn Campbell, back in 1968, had a #1 hit on the Billboard's country singles chart named Wichita Lineman, written by Jimmy Webb back in 1968. Now let's go in. I want to just be sure, making this turn to more. And then I want to be sure, let's see, I want to go back and look at this procedure. Look at the approach, activate vectors, activate approach. So I think that's going to work. If not, I'll do it real quick. I'm just kind of curious to see if this next leg doesn't become active and more. We'll watch that real careful here while we're looking for other famous people. Wyatt Earp was another famous Wichita native. Pretty clouds here. We have windshield heat on. It's a little chilly. I'm going to go ahead and cut on some anti-ice. It's -2. So we'll cut some of that on, and we're turning right now. 060. Crossing more in 1.8 miles. So Wyatt Earp, he was a lawman in several western frontier towns, including Wichita, and he's best known for his part in the gunfight at the OK Corral. And he is known as one of the Old West's toughest and deadliest gunmen of his day. So that leg did become active. So I'm happy about that. And let's see if we're not down below the clouds. We are. Let's see, what do we got? 11 miles to go here, 170 knots, and we have reached our target altitude of 5,000 feet. And add some power back in, keep us from getting too slow, too far out. And let's see, who else do we have? You would expect there to be a lot of airports. There's another one right in front of us. There's another one. In a city that produces as many aircraft as they do. There's the skyline over there. Kansas City, Kansas State is pretty flat. And so, fun fact, the long-running comic strip, Dennis the Menace, is set in Wichita. I never knew that. And let's see, a couple of athletes, Pro Football Hall of Famers, running backs, Gale Sayers and Barry Saunders, both from Wichita. And Christy Alley from the television series Cheers is from Wichita. Actor Don Johnson of Miami Vice is from Wichita. And Joe Walsh, founding member of the James Gang, and later one of the Eagles, members of the Eagles singing group. He is also from Wichita, attended Wichita Northwest High School. So our speed's getting up a little high. I'm going to ease our power back and keep us around. In fact, we're going to go ahead and slow up. We get it. Any ice off for sure. Windshield heat can come off. Engine anti-ice can come off. And the wing stabilizer, everything is off there. And lights are on. Seatbelts are good. Let me just take a quick peep at my checklist, see if I've got anything.
Okay, we're starting down
10,000. Got it all done. Passengers prepare for the arrival. Cross feet knob is off. We'll double check, make sure. Yep, it's off. It's been off. And we're getting ready to turn left here at EVIS, which is initial approach fix. So we'll be on the approach after that. We want to make sure GPS continues to navigate towards it. Down to 4,000. So next red light we got sent down to 4,000, so vertical speed. Let's come on down about 500 foot a minute. Ease that power back.
I'll be looking UPS
6 miles from Jackson, so we're going to slow it up a little bit. Go ahead and get in the first stage of laps here. Slowed on down. I'll tell you about those incidences. One, I think these both happened in 20, or there's 3 of them actually, 2013, 2014, in that time period, so not too long ago. First one, there was an avionics technician who was working out at the Wichita Airport who was arrested, and allegedly he was planning to drive a carload of explosives into the airport and detonate it and try to do some damage. Fortunately, he was arrested before that happened. And so there was that. Okay, we're coming down to 4,000. And we're hoping to get some vertical guidance in here. I may need to activate the approach for that to actually happen, but I would like to get established on the final approach course, and we should see glide path armed once that happens. We'll have about 6 miles to get everything set up there.
Okay, we got
coming down on
primary no altitude readout on him.
500 feet a minute, coming up on 4,000. Add a little bit of power back in here. I don't want to get too slow.
This is beach craft
There
in
we
front
got
of us out here at
flaps.
this airport.
So, okay, another incident at Wichita was another gentleman was arrested. He crashed through security gate in his pickup truck and was seen approaching a small aircraft.
To the north of the beach, is that Cessna?
And waving some papers. So he was upset about something, to be sure. A little bit more power this time. And the GPS is just tracking us right on in there. And I think we will come in here and activate the approach. Should see this line turn magenta. Nope, it's not. So we're going to go in there and activate that approach. Back, procedure, and activate approach. There we go. Now let's go with heading. That didn't do what I wanted it to. I'll be dang. Let's go back. Procedure.
Airport's in sight.
Vectors to final. Now let's pick up nav. And let's see if it does it there.
Okay. 19 right,
GPS is armed.
19-2, appreciate it, or 18-2,
And we're turning final. And we have been cleared for the approach. And there's our vertical glide path. Okay, I'll save that. So when I activate the approach, it wanted to take me back to another waypoint. So that didn't work out. I haven't practiced this. I should have, I'm sure, but you know, we'll just chalk it up to being rusty. So here comes our glide path. So we're going to go ahead and drop our gear at 1 dot below. We're doing 150 knots. And at 1 dot above, right there. So there it is. Gear's coming down. See the nose pitch over and start following the glide path down to the runway. Runway is in sight. There's the Arkansas River in front of us. And we got on the approach mode. There we go. Hope we didn't do that too late. Okay, there's another mistake. So let's get us going down. See if we can recapture that and then arm the glide path. So it is armed. It's not engaged yet. Back off on the power just a little bit. Let's see if we can get down there. We're above the glide slope right now. So I want to recapture it just by adding a little bit more descent rate. Let's get another stage of flaps in here. And I want to be sure it's coming up now. I want to be sure that we are clear to land. Thank you. Gears down. 1 dot above glide slope. We got to get us on down there. And I'll click this approach mode one more time. See if that'll get it for us. .140 knots. Our VREF, I've already set in the speed selector. May not have. If I didn't, it's 105 knots. Okay, now we are on the glide path, and I want to make sure, for some reason, these are still white. They should be yellow, but it looks like it's holding it. In fact, the descent rate has changed, so Right now, everything's looking good, although we think these would be yellow. All right, 130 knots, just about to cross Helam. We're supposed to be above 1900. That looks like that's going to work out, and then we'll be about a mile and a half or so from the runway. So we're almost there, ladies and gentlemen. The last thing that happened, fortunately it wasn't today, but I think it was back in 2014, a Beechcraft King Air. Had a little power, too slow, glide slope. And if I have to, I'll disconnect this autopilot and fly it on in by hand. Beechcraft King Air 200, taking off, lost an engine, crashed into the Flight Safety International building.
500.
500.
500.
130 knots. So,
400.
Could have done better there. We'll chalk it up to just being a little rusty here. And let's go ahead and autopilot off and yaw damper off.
300.
And we'll get that final stage of flaps in.
200.
Flaps 3. There's one more, but we'll use flaps 3.
100.
Come in a little hot. Power back. Okay, we landed a little faster than we wanted to, and a little bit right of center. Get back over there on our center line. The airplane always does seem like it wants to drift right on me, but flaps coming up. Left next taxiway, contact ground, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wichita, Kansas. Mid-Continent, Dwight D. Eisenhower Airport, and the final stop in this epic journey to deliver this Phenom 300. So I think I got all the information out there I wanted to. And we'll stop right here, contact ground, and let's get our strobe lights off. Landing lights off, taxi light on, strobe lights off, there we go. And we have got no anti-ice here. Taxi to parking as per ground. We can zoom this into our safe taxi. It's a little off there, but that's okay. We are on the taxi line. Okay, so that approach, I think that I could do better, but we're gonna just say it is what it is. We got down, we kept an eye on it. It got us here, and I have seen it do better for sure. LPB approaches, but I think I might have messed up when I activated it too late. I probably could have just I don't know what I did. I should have activated it earlier probably, but at any rate we didn't. I should have activated it before I crossed the initial approach fix. I bet you that was my problem. So we will be wrapping this series up, going on to the next thing. I do want to say once again thank you to Ray Marshall and for inviting me to do this, and for providing the help and the paint for the 757 X-ray mic, and for sharing a lot of information. Ray's a good guy. You can check out that review again over at AVSIM. Be sure and do that, and leave a comment. And let Ray know what you think. I want to take this opportunity also to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, season greetings, Happy New Year to all the FS Mania subscribers. Thank you so much for your support and for your patience in enduring this pretty long trip, and I promise there'll be some new fun things coming up soon. We did cut the strobes off, cut the navs off. There again, rusty panel lights are coming off. And let's get the park and brake set, and we'll get those engines shut down. Brake set, and we'll shut down engine number 1, shut down engine number 2. There we are. Let them wind down. So, okay, I'm gonna hop out, and while I'm getting everything shut off here, tell you a little bit about 757 X-ray mic. There's our cast messages. So 757 X-ray mic, the real world one, is or was, I'm not sure if it's still around. In fact, I checked and I couldn't find it listed. The registration had expired, but it's a 1977 vintage Cessna 152, and I learned to fly in that airplane. I took my first flight, and looking for my notes because I've got the date. Let's see. First flight lesson was in August of 1978. We'll get the battery off here. I'm going to put a picture of it up here in just a second. Let's get this off and get that off. And let's get out of here, and I'll finish telling you about 757 X-ray mic. So first flight lesson, August of 78. I soloed that airplane on Friday the 13th. There, my knee tried to give out on me. Friday the 13th. I don't know why that day. I think the weather was just right. And so I soloed Friday 13th, October 1978. And this picture that I'm getting ready to show you, get this door open, get stepped out here into the fresh Kansas air. Watching my step here coming down. A little stiff from that long flight. And I will put up the flight summary too. I'll show that if I haven't already. Good job there, 757 X-ray mic. So here's the real 757 X-ray mic. And like I said, soloed. This picture was taken on the first landing of my solo by Danny Buzz. We called him, a pilot friend of mine that actually got me interested in flying, and he took this picture. This is my first landing on my first solo, Friday the 13th, October 1978. And I went on to get my take my private pilot check ride in this airplane in March. Was it March? April of 1979. So I trained from August to April, and went for my check ride. I think I had 46 hours of total time when I went for the check ride. So that is the real world 757 X-ray mic, and this is the one that we just flew all the way from San Jose dos Campos, Brazil to Wichita, Kansas. A trip of about 5,000 miles. So that's going to conclude it for this trip, for this flight. I want to thank everybody once again for being with me on this. Look forward to future flights on some new airplanes, different airplanes, and we'll just keep on keeping on with this. I've enjoyed working on this channel. I'm sorry again that it has taken me so long to get this series done, but now that it's done, we are going to move on to some new stuff. So stay tuned, and until then, from FS Mania, from Wichita, Kansas, so long.
GPS 672 Heavy, can remain this frequency, turn left at the next intersection, taxi to the ramp via Delta, cross runway 14.